Good morning. I wanted to give you, after I reviewed the audiobook Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban in the full cast edition, I wanted to give you a quick review of the next book in that series, which is the Goblet of Fire. I'm not going to spoil anything of the story, but I can tell you, in regards to the story, this is one of my favorites in the whole series. It's not the favorite, but one of the. This is basically where the story kind of picks up and gets more interesting for adult listeners or adult readers, in my humble opinion. It started with the third book, where the whole storyline kind of pivots into more darker and again, interesting storylines that also adults can kind of enjoy. The first two books were more targeted towards children, and yes, these books, all of them are more for children, and were also kind of constructed in a way that they grow with kids growing up and address more adult storylines and get a little bit darker. But again, while I like the first two books, I think they could be a little bit off-putting for adult readers because they are in some degrees a little bit childish, but not to a fault. I just say that I didn't start with the first two books. I started with the third one, and then I was kind of hooked. And then I read the fourth one, totally out of order. And I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then I started basically from the beginning again. And this book, The Goblet of Fire, is really interesting. But this review is not necessarily about the story and the book itself, but I want to kind of dive into the full cast audiobook edition. Again, story great. And in this full cast audio edition, just as the name implies, every character has his or her own actor reading out the lines, which is amazing. This is much better than the previous audiobooks, which were really good by themselves, but this is even better. However, if you're coming straight from the third book, then do it just basically like I did. I finished the audiobook, and then on the next day I started the next one. It is a really jarring experience because while all of the characters stay the same, all of the adult characters stay the same, have the same actors, they switch out the main protagonists because in the first three books, kids were reading them, which were much more in line with the characters in the book. But for the lack of a better description, puberty hit, and all of the kids have older voices. They switched out to older actors, youth actors, to, I speculate, I believe these are now the final three of Ron, Hermione, and Harry, to kind of finish reading until the end. So it does kind of make sense switching to older kids, but it is so jarring, and I kind of wished that they would have not changed all of them. So when you listen to Harry, it feels like, hold on, is this like a 22-year-old kid or person? And it's really jarring. It's really, really jarring coming from this, I don't know, 9-year-old or 10, 11-year-old kid that you really perceive as a child. And then you listen to Harry and they're like, hey, my name is Harry. I'm over-exaggerating, right? Hey, my name is Harry Potter. Where's my beer at? So it's really weird. And I kind of wish that they would have done something like in post-processing to make his voice slightly more childlike. But I can kind of, how you say, disconnect or disregard disbelief or belief, and say like, okay, okay, he hit puberty. Okay, Hermione Ron works as well, but Harry is a little bit jarring. But there is this character that is called Colin Creevey that is like this really naive child who is so much of a fanboy of Harry that he follows him wherever he goes. And in this, they changed him as well. And Colin Creevey is actually 1 year below Harry, and he, from my perspective, shouldn't have hit puberty yet. Plus, he, based on the voice itself, you would think, okay, he's not that naive anymore and he's not that much of a fanboy. But he did hit puberty. He sounds really old, or older. And I'm like, shouldn't you be like smart enough now not to be such a fanboy? I understand that you really look up to him, but it feels disconnected to have, I don't know, this grown up based on the voice being like, oh Harry, I love you, you're the best, I want to follow you wherever you go, here's my little brother and look at this and that. And it's really weird. So this whole change of the actors going to older actors is very jarring. I guess if you would have put a little bit of space in between the third book and then starting to listen to this one, it wouldn't be as jarring, but it still is jarring in a way because they are still kids, and it doesn't, Harry in particular doesn't sound like a kid to me. Based on the voice sound like. So yeah, but overall I really like the full cast edition, and it's really, really cool. And I think the storyline is amazing. The Dolby Atmos, if you listen like here right now in the car, it sounds so good coming from one side to the other, and it's really good. I can highly recommend. I just want to prepare you, it will be a little bit jarring coming from the third one to this fourth book and listening to Harry going through puberty. Alright, so this is a book that I can highly recommend. Overall, these full cast audiobooks are really good. This sound issue that I mentioned in the first book, where Dumbledore sounded like he was recorded in a completely different studio, has been resolved as far as I can tell, or as far as I feel. And yeah, I can highly recommend it. Maybe check it out. Goblet of Fire, full cast edition, really good. Alright, maybe check out the video from yesterday up here. Or no, the review of the third book up here. YouTube thinks that you like the video down here. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button up here. That way we see each other tomorrow. Thank you very much.